Hey guys, it's about 25 below right now, and I've gotten a few requests asking me how I stay warm, what I wear in the wintertime. Woo! Yes, I look ridiculous, but I'm going to go through what I wear, and hopefully it'll help you too. Alright, let's start with our base layer. The first layer for me is usually a long sleeve, crew neck, a long underwear type shirt. I prefer the ones that are kind of thinner and silkier. A lot of people wear thermals that are the waffle weave, and I have never found those comfortable, and I have never found those to be warm, at least in a conventional fabric. They might be warm. My husband has a long underwear shirt that is from Duckworth that is merino wool, and it is a waffle pattern, and it's almost too hot for him to wear sometimes. So it is possible for them to be warm. You just need to get a really quality one, I believe, if you're getting a waffle weave in natural materials. I also wear long underwear on the bottoms. I also prefer a lighter layer for my base layer. It's easier to get around. They stretch better. You're not so bulky at the end when you're all totally dressed up. So that's what I wear for my long underwear. I do prefer a silky feel to them, and I have worn ones that are silk, and those are extremely warm. They're also more expensive, and they're also a little more intensive on taking care of them. Anyway, that's what I wear for my base layer. Okay, mid layer. This is what I've got going on over the top of my long underwear. I've got several options. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling and what the weather's like outside. This is a wool shirt. This one's a Pendleton. Extremely comfortable. Wool is a great choice. It's very durable. It's warm. It can be wet and still be warm. It wicks moisture away from your skin. That's a mistake a lot of people make, in that they wear clothes that are so warm, but they don't get, and then they start sweating. And when you start sweating, that's when you can get cold. And when you want something that gets that sweat away from you, or helps facilitate you staying, your temperature being regulated enough that you're not sweating like that. Anyway, wool shirts are wonderful. It kind of depends on the activity, what I'm wearing that for. If I'm going to go skiing, like cross-country skiing, I'll not wear a wool shirt. I will get too hot. I might pack one as a spare or extra for if I get chilled down, but I will choose something different in that case. This is something else I wear. I've been wearing this one a lot lately. It's just a pullover, kind of synthetic, puffy. I've had it for years. I don't even know actually if they make it anymore. And I've been wearing this quite a lot lately over my long underwear, and underneath my coat is my mid layer. I also wear these a lot. And I'll put these over my long underwear. That's one reason why I like a thin long underwear layer, I guess, or base layer. These are windproof pants from Columbia. I also have another pair from North Face. They're pretty comfortable. They've got zips at the bottom. It's hard to see. But these help break the wind on your legs, help insulate some. They're not real thick, so you don't feel real constricted. I find that to be a huge pet peeve of mine, in that you get all dressed up and then you can't move. That's super annoying to me. So anyways, I wear these quite a lot as my mid layer. On days where it's not so cold, that might just be all I wear. On days that it's super cold, I'll layer something, an outer layer on top of these. On days when it's just kind of cold, I'll just wear a regular pair of pants over my long underwear. But these are quite warm. They work great for, for outdoor activities like snowshoeing or skiing, like cross-country skiing and such, because they move with you and stretch. Anyway, highly recommend a pair of windproof pants. Okay, so what goes on top of my mid layer? Well, sometimes a vest. It just kind of depends. I love vests because they leave your arms free to move around. I tend to get cold in the core part of my body. And when that part gets cold, everything's cold and I can't get warm. So I love vests for that reason. It adds me another layer to keep that middle part of me warm, yet doesn't restrict my movement, because that's super important to me. Another option that I use when it's real cold, and it's not sponsored, but, and maybe there's other brands, but this is the only one I've ever seen. I wear a Norsari sometimes. So a Norsari is basically like a big blanket. This one happens to be wool on the inside, and then kind of a waterproof, windproof material on the outside. Anyway, it's got Velcro, and it basically just Velcros around your middle, and then you make a roll with it like a sari. And then it's kind of, kind of looks like a skirt, I guess. But it works super awesome for, one of the things that winter is putting on clothes and taking off clothes, putting on clothes, taking off clothes. In the course of a day, I don't know how many times I put on clothes and take off clothes in the winter. And this is easy. You can just Velcro it on over your layer. You're not dealing with pulling up 50 layers of pants on your legs. And it works spectacular for breaking the wind. I used to have to chop ice out of a tank for my horse every day, and I would get water on me inevitably. This kept me nice and dry. It works awesome. It's great kind of multi-purpose to have around too. It works like a blanket. You can go sit on it in the snow and not get wet. It's an awesome, awesome product. I'm not going to say it's the most attractive thing. They do make prettier ones, that are for show or for dress a little bit, that are all wool. However, this one is more functional for my needs for being outside. But it leaves your legs free to move, keeps you warm, keeps the wind off you, keeps the water off you. Easy to put on and off. I can't say enough about the Norsari. But yes, it's not my prettiest piece of gear, and I'm sure I get some strange looks when I wear it. Now we'll go on to another piece of gear. Right, so if it's super, super, super cold and my Norsari is not getting the job done, I will wear over my long underwear regular old ski pants. They're heavy, they're warm, or snowmobile pants too, same. And I don't get cold. I do have, and I never wear them, like some Carhartts, insulated bibs or insulated overalls or pants that are Carhartts, or that type of thing that you might have seen. And they're okay, and yeah, they do keep you warm, but I find they're extremely hard to move in. They get stiff. When the snow will melt on them and then freeze, and they're just stiff and super uncomfortable. So anyway, I highly recommend a good pair of ski pants, snow pants, to wear in the case that it's super cold. And I could even wear my Norsari over these if I had to, which I've never had to, so I can't really see that happening. But it's a possibility. You can layer on top of these, and that Norsari would work and not be restrictive of your movement or too heavy. Okay, so we've talked about, your base layer and your mid layer for your body. But what am I wearing on my feet? These are my very favorite in the snow. I don't wear them when it's muddy out. You could. But to me, they're kind of expensive piece of gear to wear in the mud and ruin when I have other things that work, like muck boots. What I wear underneath these is wool socks. I wear wool socks every day of the year. I have several favorite brands. My favorite brands are Duckworth. If you haven't checked them out, you should. Again, I'm not sponsored by any of these brands. It's just things I found that work. And I happen to know the family behind Duckworth. And they're good people, and it's a good company, and it's made in America, and I can 100% recommend them and get behind them, and their products last. Another brand I like for wool socks is Darn Tough. I've had great luck with those also. And then these are my mucklucks. There's different variations you can get. These come from a place called Steiger mucklucks. They're moose hide. And they're extremely warm. And they have good ankle support, which is something that's super important to me. You wrap these laces around the tops of them and they kind of help support. Their feet are, or their sole, I guess, is all part of it, but it's kind of like a rubbery, and it grips. It doesn't slip on the ice like some things. You can put extra wool insoles in these to make them even warmer. They're a little bit like a pack in that they've got, I guess they've got an insert that you put your foot into that is wool. Anyways, these are very warm. They are an expensive purchase. They have lasted me for a few seasons now without any trouble at all. Again, I don't wear them in mud. I just feel I have other options for that. But when it's snow and it's cold, and we're talking like cold, like 30 below cold, these work awesome for me. Again, they go on and off pretty easy. Lacing them's kind of a pain. You can cut the laces off if you don't need that much. But again, I do like the laces because they help support my ankles. And these are super comfortable. And I usually wear, I guess it would be considered a barefoot type shoe, but it's not really. I should say it's mostly a zero drop shoe. And these are also zero drop. Their footbed is level all the way across. Your heel is not higher than your toe. The other thing I find with these is they're very quiet. I'm pretty sneaky in the snow on these. If I was sneaking up on something, they are quiet. They're warm. If you order some from this company, I recommend ordering the wide. I have a narrow foot, but the wide fits way better with socks. And you do want a little space in a boot so you can fill that with warm air. It's just kind of an extra layer of insulation. I've worn every sort of packs, expensive packs that you can imagine, and tried them, and these have been the very best, my favorite. When it's muddy, I usually wear a muck boot instead because it's usually not as cold. But these are gold in the snow. All right, so what do I wear around my neck? I'm a Montana girl, and us Montana girls love our silk scarves, or what they call a wild rag. You can wrap this around your neck and tie it, and it's very, very warm. On a day like it was yesterday, I'll do something a little different. Yesterday, I wore this neck gaiter. It's from Colombia, and you can pull it up above your nose pretty easy to keep your face warm. It was like minus 50 wind chills yesterday, and that helped a bunch. Another option for that is one of these. This one's windproof. It's pretty warm. It's been well used, and it goes right over your head, and you can again pull that up over your nose and keep your face from freezing. And then I also have this. This is it's like a cap, but it's got this face thing sewn into it. It's from Carhartt. It's actually very warm. And I like that you have the option. This kind of operates independently, I guess, on the face covering than the other, so you can move it easier. One thing with these you have to watch for a little bit is when and I haven't, maybe there's one out there that does this, and I just haven't found it. They all get wet where you're breathing, and that wet can get really cold and uncomfortable if you're out there a long time with it. I also, freezing things against your face is not really the best. So, there's ones, like this one's got kind of a mesh to breathe through. And this one, I can kind of take it down below my nose. But they do get wet there, and maybe there's a better option, and maybe somebody knows it. And if you do, I'd love to hear it. Please share. I'd sure appreciate it. On my head, sometimes I'll wear a cap or a beanie, I guess. And then a lot of times I just wear an earband. Earbands, get the ones that are windproof. They sell a lot of cheap ones that aren't, and they're pretty worthless in my opinion. Windproof here, at least where I live, is extremely important. Okay, so now we've got all these clothes on. Are you tired yet? Putting all these clothes on. I tell you, it gets old. When it's super cold, I have different weights of jackets, I guess. These are my heaviest ones, and this is what I've been wearing when it's super cold. This is an REI, I believe. It's an older jacket. It's actually quite old. It's warm. It's one of the warmest coats I've ever worn in my entire life. It's got a hood. It's got the deal to keep your wrists warm. It's just an adjustable thing. Something I absolutely hate is cold air blowing up underneath my jacket. And you can cinch this thing down and it works awesome. Anyway, I love this jacket. It's from REI. I really doubt they make anything of the same model at all anymore. So you're going to have to just find a really heavy jacket that's similar or works for you. Something I do avoid is if I wear down. I usually wear down on my mid layer. And if I have down in my jacket, I want to make sure the outside of that thing is pretty waterproof, because wet down sucks. If you've ever had down that got rained on, you understand. It's no fun. And then this is another jacket. This is actually kind of a hand-me-down from my husband. It's was not wide enough across the shoulders for him. It's like an army jacket, I want to say. I have no idea how old this thing is. It says made in China, so I'm guessing it's fairly newer. This thing's warm. It is super, super warm. And this hood on this deal with this fur ruff, well, fake fur ruff, is also super warm. This is a great jacket. Again, super heavy. Does not get cold, I guess. Anyway, I highly recommend this jacket too. But look for a nice, heavy, heavy, heavy jacket. I'm not talking like your run-of-the-mill Columbia jacket with the thing that zips out of it. We're talking heavier than that for these really, really cold days. Nothing against, like your Columbia. I have one. It's just not made for the extreme cold that these are, in my experience. And maybe they have a model that is, I don't know. But I would recommend something really, really nice and heavy that you can put over that base and middle layer if you need it. And that vest. Put it over your vest. They work. All right, so we've got our feet covered, our bodies covered, our heads covered. We need something for our hands. These are what I wear when it's super cold. Again, mittens I've found to be warmer than gloves. No matter what, I have never found a pair of gloves that is actually warmer than my heaviest pair of mittens. These ones are pretty good. I wear them quite a lot for doing chores and stuff outside, but they will get cold after a while. These mittens are the bomb. They're lined with shirling. I think these are elk hide. Very warm. And you can also wear, if you have like a really close fitting small pair of gloves, you can wear those inside these mittens. And those work really good. I had a bad snowmobile wreck once, and I landed in a spring hole in a creek with a snowmobile on top of me. Long story. Not a great story. Anyway, I was laying in the creek, and the creek was running, I guess it would be perpendicular to my body, and it was taking one of these mittens off with it. So I remember just holding onto that mitten as hard as I could so it didn't go down the creek. And when I got pulled out, I had a hurt clavicle, I guess. And it wasn't broken, but it was pretty badly bruised, I believe. And I do have like a bump there still. These stayed warm. It was amazing. I did not get cold, and I was literally in a creek for I don't know how long underneath a snowmobile until the people that were with me were able to get the snowmobile off of me. And I was never once cold in these gloves, or these sort of mittens. These are a newer pair, but these sort of mittens kept me warm. It was kind of amazing to me. And I have a tendency to get cold hands. So that was pretty cool. And then there's, the modern version. These are ones I picked up. I ski in these a lot, and they stay warm too. But in my mind, the natural materials just always seem to do the best job for me. Anyway, it's up to you, personal preference. There's as many choices of gloves and mittens out there as who knows what. Tons of them. Find what works for you. This is what I tend to wear and works for me. And last but definitely not least is eye protection. The other morning we had a wind. It was about 30 miles an hour wind. Like I said, it was like minus 50 wind chill. And so and it was blowing snow. Snow in your eyeball hurts. I don't know who you are, if you can handle that. But snow blowing into my eyeballs is just, it's awful. And I wear goggles when it's that bad. I also wear goggles because my eyes don't water that way so bad. I hate, it's like you're crying because it's so cold. And then it freezes on your cheeks. And when it's minus 50 wind chill, you're pretty susceptible to frostbite anyways. You don't exactly need any water streaming down your cheeks from your eyes being bothered. So I'll wear goggles. I'm not too proud. People laugh at me, but I'm comfortable when it's super cold. Otherwise, a good pair of sunglasses is key. Here, a lot of times when it's super cold out, when it's not actually storming, it's really bright. That sun's super bright and it's hard on your eyes. So make sure you have a good pair of glasses to wear. It protects your eyes, and it's just a lot more comfortable for me when I've got my eyes covered or protected from that sun. Well, that does it. I hope everybody's staying warm in this winter weather we're getting. Equinox storm always seems to happen. Stay warm, stay safe, and take care. Thanks for watching.